If your company's ever hired freelancers, this will probably be one of the most important videos you've watched this year. Hopping into my screen, we're going to be talking about the Hire Act. Not to scare anyone, this isn't a law yet in the US, and it might never be, but it has been proposed, so it's my job to make you aware of this. So the Hire Act, in a nutshell, it would make it so all payments that you're making to VAs, freelancers, or anybody or company outside of the United States, it would make it so you have to pay, on top of what you pay them, a 25% tax on whatever payments, and anything that you pay them wouldn't be tax deductible for you or your business. Why do I say this? Well, coming over to here, I'm actually going to link the actual PDF of the bill that was proposed here. On page 2, it says right here, if I can find it, imposition of tax. You're going to be taxed, like if you're a person making an outsourcing payment, you're going to be taxed 25% of the amount of such payment. So if you pay a freelancer $10K for something, you're going to have to pay $2,500 in tax just because. To who? The government. And coming down here, like the 25% is not fun, but here's where I think this is absolutely crazy. Coming down here, outsourcing payments. No deduction shall be allowed under this chapter for any outsourcing payment. If your company pays freelancers outside of the US $1 million next year, if this is passed, you can deduct zero, not a cent of $1 million that you're paying for labor. That's crazy. All right, this is not tax advice, but I wanted to take the actual PDF, as we all do at this point, throw it into ChatGPT and try to get a synopsis of what this actually means. So I asked it, hey, pretend I'm the person watching this YouTube video, trying to learn about the Hire Act and how it directly impacts me. Please be brief, let me know. So it goes, okay, it has a 25% tax on any payment you make to a foreign VA or freelancer or company if the work benefits US customers. Okay. On top of that, those VA payments will not be deductible as a business expense on your US taxes. So if you pay a VA $10K a year, you'd need to pay $12,500 because of the 25% tax. And it looks like the effective date would apply to any payments after basically the end of 2025. So direct impact would be hiring VAs overseas would become much more expensive, both because of the 25% tax and because you lose the ability to write off any of those payments on your taxes. So coming down here, I wanted to take a step further. I was like, okay, I'm a solopreneur. I made $100K this year in revenue, and our profit margins before labor are 60%. So we profit 60K. I have 2 freelancers. Each one I pay $15K a year. What would my profit be before tax? What would my new tax be, considering I cannot write off these freelancers? And how much money would I have after all of that was paid? So I broke it down. Profit before the labor would be 60K. Profit before tax under what it is now, because 60K minus paying the 2 freelancers, profit would be 30K. Yay. Your net profit under the Hire Act, if it were to be passed, I would have like 10K. So effectively, it would cut out 2/3 of my bottom line as a solopreneur. That's what it might look like for you if that's passed. Now, again, not tax advice. Talk to a CPA. I wanted to bump it up. What if I'm a small business owner and I'm making $1 million a year in revenue? Numbers are the same. It's just 10x'd everything pretty much. 10 times more freelancers, 10 times more revenue. Break it down. So it said, okay, so you'd profit $600,000 after labor, $300,000 after the act, about $100,000. So about 2/3 gone. So then I asked it, okay, well, what can we do instead of just watching and being like, oh, that would suck? It's like, what can we do now to ensure this doesn't become an actual problem and something that gets passed? So it recommended first find your reps. I had no idea about any of this stuff before finding out about this. So we actually have a lot of say in what our reps in the government do. We just need to make sure we voice our opinions before it's a thing. If we don't voice our opinions, then they might think, oh, nobody's throwing up a fit about this one. Seems like everyone's for it. And then they might pass some stuff, you know? So first, find your reps in your state. or wherever. You can go to, I'll link these below in the comments too, house.gov and senate.gov. Apparently you enter in your zip code and you'll get their phone, email, and mailing address. Everything is public there. Contact methods matter. It said you should do phone calls, maybe written letters, emails, town halls. For me, I'm probably just gonna do an email, maybe a letter, maybe a phone call. I might do a town hall if I'm seeing that this stuff is picking up. And then here's a little snippet of what you might want to say if this helps you out, if you're an introvert. So you'd be like, hey, I'm a small business owner. Explain why the HIRE Act would make it really hard to afford hiring freelancers and virtual assistants. Share your math. Just be like, if I'm profiting $300K, like I would then profit $100K. And that's literally insane. And just make sure to be really clear. Chat's saying here, maybe say something like, just please oppose the HIRE Act. I'm not for it. Just like very clear cut communication. And if we're doing that, that's the most we can really do on our end. If it does pass, My Hero VA also has VAs and freelancers from Puerto Rico, which is a US territory. So this whole HIRE Act, as far as I'm aware, would not apply to this because that's still technically under the umbrella of the United States since it's Puerto Rico, you know? So you could still hire VAs from there and you shouldn't be hit by anything regarding the HIRE Act if it's passed. So if you're looking to check out My Hero VA, you can click the button below. It's going to be the link below. It's going to be the first one, and you can sign up for free, post a job, and all the other links will be all the other links I mentioned. I'll keep you posted on this one for sure.